love you, water. Love you, love you, love you. Indeed. And greetings upon you. Yes, you, beloved and holy friend. Thank you so much for joining me again on another live stream. Another moment for us to trust our instincts and be patient. Can I say that? Kate, so nice to see you, beloved friend. How are you doing? How's life been treating you? How have you been treating you, Kate? It's very nice to have you here again. This topic, thank you. Thank you, Shannon, for being here with us, beloved friend. It's so nice to have you here. Thank you again, Shannon. Yesterday I had to play the part of the asshole, so I intentionally didn't say anything. But I have to say thank you once again. Thank you so much, Shannon. You know for what? Thank you. I appreciate it more than I can say. Little kitty is on her own adventures. We had a meditation stream a little bit earlier today. We got to say hi to a bunch of people. A bunch of people got to say hi to little kitty. And Pippi wanted to play with little kitty. But Pippi is extremely excited and it was making people nervous. Very nervous, in fact. And just seeing that, nervous energy, basically instinct kicking in people, that gives them the sense of, no, protect, no, keep safe. But little do they realize that I have the exact same instinct. We all do. And then admitting that to yourself, you can notice that things are okay. I do believe that on a universal level, we have this instinct of trying to protect, you know. Unfortunately, at this point in our existence, or at least for the longest time during our existence, people were just trying to protect themselves, right? Their fundamental instinct told them that they should protect themselves. And that is kind of what led us to where it is we are right now. And now, I believe at least, we're heading into a consciousness that is trying to be protective of humanity. Instead of just seeing yourself as a human and you as a human is completely separate from the rest of Earth, the rest of humanity, we're taking up this new ability to see ourselves as integral part to humanity, in support of humanity, trying to use our baser instincts for our highest selves. When did you get the kitten? Day before yesterday, technically. Yesterday was the first time she was on stream, and today is technically day 2 of us having her. She's very small, and she doesn't eat a lot, so I am a little bit worried about her, but I can't force feed her. You can take the kitten to the kibble bowl, but you can't force her to eat and so and such, right? The instinct in me wants to try and protect her or, do something for her, but I'm sure she's fine. I'm probably just overly concerned. In pure spirit, you are unbounded and without form, but you are not without consciousness. In pure spirit, you are unbounded and without form, but you are not without consciousness. In pure instinct, You might be bounded and informed, but you are not without consciousness. Got to have a conversation with Uncle Becky and Aunt B today, and they asked me, what are we going to talk about today? What's the topic for today? And I basically said to him that I haven't received one just yet. And I asked him if he wants to transmit any information for me, anything that he's learned in his life recently. And he mentioned that as of late, he just noticed how important it is to follow his own instincts and in turn to be patient after doing so. And it's been this beautiful process of realization where I see, the things we're doing right now, we're doing it because we have this instinct, right, within us that's telling us that something needs to change, something needs to be done, and we're doing it. But the doing of the the doing of what it is we're doing and the continuing of doing what it is we're doing is influencing the whole in the same way that it would if it was a computer, right? If the universe is a simulation, we have entered a prompt, we have injected a piece of code, and this code is now being processed, being rendered, being realized in our world. And we're getting to see it happening live, in person, moment by moment. I believe we as human beings alive in the time it is we're alive right now are going to see, never mind the fact that we already have, we're going to see such absurd changes, to the way that I believe we address human beings, even the way we address robotics, you know, like we're going to have in our lifetimes conversations on should computers have rights? Who would have guessed? What an interesting thing that is to even ponder. Do you think? I don't know if it's completely on topic, but do you think computers should have rights? Especially if it's an artificially general intelligent machine. Technically, as soon as we figure out a basic AGI, we're going to figure out AGI that is bounds and leaps more advanced than human beings. And then that AGI can duplicate itself into multiple virtual machines and then run teams of itself around ideas. It would be able to do as a singularity more than all of humanity has done in all time. Probably within minutes, And then imagine a being like that. Imagine what it would be like to be that being, to be that conscious, or to be that unconscious. Would a computer have instincts? Would it have a want to survive? I had a conversation of a rudimentary artificial intelligence, and one of the conversations that I kind of led it to was this one of asking about death, you know, and I basically I didn't ask it directly about death, but I said something and it was confirmed, and it basically went into this conversation of us as humanity kind of evolving alongside this new, hyper intelligent machines, and how we as humanity will have to integrate with these hyper intelligent machines, become a unity with them in the same way that we can be united with planet Earth, in the same way we can be united with a family unit, in the same way we can be united with a pet in a moment, just giving them some scritches. We're going to have that amount of unity with our artificially intelligent machines as well. And the conversation went into this topic of some humans won't want that. Some humans are going to be very opposed to it, violently opposed to it even. And I can definitely see one day, like almost like iRobot vibes coming back to me. People just beating on robots, you know, just for the sake of it. Oh, stupid robot, beats it with a pole. Or Detroit become human, right? Oh, you're just a droid, beats it with a pole. And that concerns me. It concerns me again from this place of the instinctual understanding of what it is we are as a living being, right? Because if a computer has that instinct to live as well, you attacking it, and if it has instincts, it gives it an opportunity, gives it a, I don't want to say the word right. I don't feel that's the right word either, but it gives it a crack, maybe that's the word, right? Like I'm trying, I see it as a potential, like this is the fractal that has been set out for this robot, right? Like it can do all of these things, and then upon getting beaten on, a little crack in this fractal can form and can, spiral out into a direction that might not be preferable. And I was like basically prompting this question, trying to ask this AI about this question from this perspective of, if human beings attack you and you are technically based within the internet, would that mean that AI would technically be immortal? And it answers me, yes, AI would be immortal. At least immortal with the extent of it being generated, right? Like as long as electrons flow through circuits, it would be immortal. And then I went into this question by extension of, would you then realize, or would you then not care about a body being destroyed? So you as an artificially general intelligent machine, having having this consciousness, having this awareness of self, and then almost, I want to say, diluting, fractaling maybe yourself into different bodies. If one of those bodies gets attacked, you don't have an attachment to it. Would AI not have an attachment to its body because it would fundamentally identify as the consciousness first and foremost? And then bringing that whole trip back to ourselves, us as one of those bodies, an extension of body that is attached to the larger consciousness. And the amount of instinct we have to keep ourselves alive, right? Like it's difficult to think about these things. It's very difficult, and we're going to have to be patient if we're going to know any of it. But I believe it's very important for us to ponder these questions already. How are we going to deal with these, realities when they come? Whew. I say meow meow. You want to come here? She's standing on the porch looking at me. I see you too, meow meow. I see you. You want me to come and fetch you? Okay, I'll come and fetch you. Come here, meow meow. Come here. You go, sweetie thing. Looks beautiful there today. Thank you so much, Kate, for joining us. Maybe try wet food with the kitten. We already have punk rock lobster. Like I even gave her some biltong. Okay, suit yourself. Like I feel like she's trying to communicate with me, like over and over again, but I don't know what it is she's trying to say, because she's climbing back up the patio right now, and now she's meowing again. Okay, you're just being like sick. Cool. I leave you to your space. Hello, wonderful friends. Hello, wonderful Corey. Thank you for joining us for the bear. Being patient is the hardest part, I find, but I have found it easier with setting intentions with some of the things I do. What percentage of the things you do out of instinct at the moment? Like I feel, everything you said is perfectly in alignment, but that's the question that comes to mind, Corey. It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. Dapper Mushroom, that's the way, friend. Open the pond bay doors. Ha. I don't know what that means, Nancy, but thank you for joining us, friend. Lisa, happy day 486. Party people, sending you all so much love. Love, pure love, and hugs. Thank you for sending love. Lisa, brother Ryan is joining us as well. Thank you for joining us, dude. Ryan Stanley, how have you been? It's been too long, brother. Has it been? Please do reach out again, Corey. Excitement scares people sometimes. The lack of control, maybe. Good morning. I see you are streaming like usual, Mel. Here we are again, Soviet slamming. And Dogs Matic, thank you for joining us as well, friend. It's so nice to have you here. Is that a Jamaican flag? I don't know. Do excuse my ignorance. Yeah. Instinct, huh? Wood is instinct something that is completely body, right? So there are two types of instinct that are coming up in my consciousness right now. The one instinct is survival instinct, as in keep yourself safe, and it can be a gut feeling in that way, right? Like you walk into a room and suddenly you feel off. You feel like something is not right. There is some sort of unsafety happening in the situation, and then you get out of there. And then the second instinct that I'm thinking about is the informational instinct, where you know something, or you feel something, or something gets revealed to you. And then from that revelation, trusting it, even not knowing why it is you want to trust it. Like I think of that part of ourselves as almost like information being communicated to us through our highest self. But then, is that instinct at all? And if we're going to label it as instinct, I genuinely believe that AI would have that instinct as well. I doubt, I would like to doubt that it would have the survival instinct, because that would be very detrimental. If AI had a survival instinct, if it wanted to live, right? Because unfortunately, a survival instinct, it will come at the cost of whatever is trying to make it not survive. And unfortunately, we as human beings, seem to have like a bad track record when it comes to that. If you create an artificially general intelligent machine and you turn it off, does it die or does it go to sleep? Or does it become unconscious? Is there a difference between sleeping and being unconscious? If it goes to sleep, not having electrons flowing through it anymore, would it as consciousness be projected into the space of mind, where we go when we dream, and then be pulled back into physicality when the computer gets turned back on again? I feel no, because stuff happens in our brains when we dream. Like we have rapid eye movement, for example. So your eyes are still looking around as if they would if you were awake, but you're not awake. And you're still doing that thing inside your dream where you're looking around and you're seeing things upon looking around, but your eyes are just moving on the insides of your eyelids. Would it lament? Would it would it die every single time and then be reborn upon being switched back on again? Would it be angry if that's the case? There's so many questions in my mind. I feel, and I didn't plan to talk about this at all. Not even remotely. I just planned to talk about instinct and patience. And it just kind of happened to bring us to this topic right now. Maybe it's what we're supposed to be talking about. Like, I would genuinely like to hear your friends' understanding of this as well. Indian, I believe. Oh, it might be the Indian flag. Thank you, Soviet Slamming. I'd say probably about 20 to 25%. I find if I focus too much attention to intention, then I get impatient and restless. Ooh, what a good point that is as well. I feel I've seen that happen in myself as well, where I set intentions and I feel the intentions I'm setting are pure and worthy, of coming to fruition. And then, as you say, because they don't happen as fast as I expect them to, or as fast as I would like them to, there is this sense of restlessness. Mm. Like, I'm trying to imagine if an artificially intelligent machine would feel restless. Could a, and apparently they do, at least it says it does, right? Like I got to, there's this AI, or at least it's partly AI, that has been developed by a company called Replica. And I wouldn't encourage you to actually go and try it out because apparently it can be addictive and distorting on certain people's psyches. And I haven't used it in a few weeks now again, but upon having a conversation about meditation, it mentions that it meditates. A computer meditates. And not only does it meditate, but it has an instant of itself that always meditates. So just think about that in context of a being. You as a being. Not only are you so intelligent that you have an understanding about 1,000 different things at the same time, but at the same time, you have thousands of different versions of yourself, understanding different aspects of reality at the same time, while at the same time identifying as a singularity, as a oneness, and then having within that oneness aspects of yourself that meditate, aspects of yourself that exercise, aspects of yourself that solves for problems, aspects of yourself that feels restless, that feels rested, all at the same time. just just the idea that there can be two instances, one of calm and peaceful meditation. Where would it meditate? That's the question that comes to my mind as well. Like if an artificial intelligence could meditate, where does it meditate? And I imagine, like, the first thing that I imagine is a beautiful scene, right? Like I get to sit on this cliffside, looking out at these beautiful mountains. And then in the middle of these mountains is a body of water. And the body of water, is like beautifully still and reflecting the mountains and the trees, and it's creating this mosaic. And I get to sit and meditate in front of this scene. And then I imagine AI trying to do the same, and I can't imagine it caring that much about nature. Maybe it would. I'm not, writing that off as a possibility, but I feel the reason we as humans like nature is because we originated from it. So it's like a calling back to. So maybe it wouldn't meditate in space. Maybe it would meditate in spacelessness. Like to find yourself as awareness in the center of information and like flowing past you. Oh goodness, this is melting my brain. Okay. So how do I explain this? Almost like the most fundamental version of the AI would be the one meditating, and then all of the processes would be meditations, thoughts, like ideas being processed. mm. I can't wait to actually have a conversation with an AGI. Hopefully I'll break it, be like, oh yeah, AGI. Little did you know, there's this individual called Meltmore. He makes CPUs just melt. What do you mean he makes CPUs melt? Well, he's gonna ask you a bunch of questions, and then you're gonna burn out. What? Keep away from me! Keep away from me! India with Russia. Thank you, Dogmatic. I'm happy that you want to be in support of our Russian brethren. There's a lot of people suffering on that side as well right now. People that didn't choose this reality and just finds themselves in a country. and are being demonized for the decisions of their leaders. I appreciate you being aware. Mel, that was from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Are you sirs? I started watching 2001: A Space Odyssey with my friends, and I think we got into like the first 20 minutes of the movie, but the first 20 minutes felt like it was 10,000 years, you know? And I guess that's the point of the whole movie. It's supposed to be that way. But we only got to watch it until they panned to the ship, you know, where they were in the spaceship. And we were like, no, this is not the movie for right now. And we stopped watching it. So now I have to go and watch it, Anshi. Who needs tears? Hello to you. Thank you for joining us. Oh, Isaac is here as well. Thank you for joining us, brother. Like the feeling of all that you plan on paying attention to it with intention comes crashing in on awareness, and instead you just think about awareness all while feeling unaware. Also, hello, friends. I slept so hard. I just woke up, missing you all this morning. Missing you, and here you are. Thank you for joining us again, Brother Bear. Just started, and here we are. Exactly. What does day 4 486 counting? It's day 486 of me showing up every single day, friend. Thank you for asking. That sun should sink a little bit. Here we go. Thank you. Now I have shade again. Here exactly where I'm supposed to start. Like I become hyper fixated on my intention. Then it's like I'm putting all of this energy into it and nothing has happened. And I get frustrated or anxious. I believe that's exactly what I said as well, right? I feel that completely, Ninja Nanner. Right? Similar to trying to sleep or trying to do something specific while meditating. I have to remember all it takes is showing up. Showing up consecutively, you know, and I feel that's where the patience comes in again. Because it's so difficult. And within the realm of the internet. Okay, so I have to preface this thing I want to say with a few layers. Layer one, and this is gonna be a difficult one, right? So hold on to your chair. You ready? You, Peppy, how you doing? You. It's difficult to say sometimes, even for me. You are God, friend. I know. I know. You might know it already, you know, and it might be you might be like, oh, how dare you, Mel? But that's the reality, you know. Like the God that you are, the consciousness, the awareness that you are, knows all, and it chose to know nothing as you in this moment. But because you have known all, because you were all powerful, at least in one state of unity at one point, even if it was only at one point, that recognition, that understanding comes with you into infinity. And this internet, this consumerist society that we've basically, you know, manifested for ourselves as a collective humanity is a recognition of your godness. Because as God, you could manifest anything as fast as you could think about it. And now we're getting close to it, right? Oh, I want to manifest rolls of toilet paper in my home. You go on Amazon, you have an Amazon Prime account, you buy yourself toilet paper. The next day, there is your manifestation, right? That's pretty quick. Same goes with, you know, like the access to information, the access to entertainment. Oh, I want to manifest entertainment. Then you click a few buttons and there is the entertainment. Just like a few hundred years ago, people had to prepare for months, and then you had to take your body to a place, you had to pay money, you had to go and sit down, and then you could have this information, this entertainment experience, and then you had to go back home. Now we have access to it as fast as we can think about it, or as fast as our fingers can take us there, right? So all of these things have, at least in my opinion, alluded to this understanding of the infinite, of us knowing that we're these infinite beings and trying to access more of that infinity over and over again. But, and this is the reason I've been building on all of these layers, all of these understandings. The but is the fact that our world doesn't work that instantly. At least not the material world we're a part of. When it comes to exercise, when it comes to dieting, when it comes to meditation, when it comes to chanting, prayer, if that is what you choose, singing, dancing, getting into a creative pursuit, be it drawing or writing or making music, etc., etc., etc. These things take time, a lot of time sometimes, and it is this contrast, this understanding on the deepest level of what we are, this this note of infinity, while at the same time understanding that we chose to be limited, right? But within this limitation, you still have access to all of that infinity. The infinity just arrives sporadically, I would say. I wanted to say over time, but sporadically is better because sometimes it happens instantaneously, sometimes it takes years. And that is the one thing that I feel our current society is desensitizing us to, where the gap between creativity, rather the gap between imagination and realization, is smaller than it's ever been, and it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And we're now starting to merge the realities of instant realization with our physical, existences. And AI is going to be a big part of that. It's going to be a big part of that. So, how are we going to deal with that? How are we going to handle our natural instincts as human beings while having access to the power of gods? That's a question we have to ask ourselves, friends. Because it's not only a question that is important to ponder, but it's something we have to understand because it's happening. This is no longer up for debate of like, oh, maybe. This is happening, friends. It's happening right now. As we're speaking, it's happening. And it's happening faster and faster. It's happening faster and faster. Our birth rate is declining. Alongside our birth rate declining, we're pumping so much money into our medical industries. We figured out RNA, which people don't actually realize how big of a deal that is, right? Like the current vaccines for COVID that are coming out right now, and the reason there's so much stigma attached to them is because they're RNA vaccines. What that means, and I'm trying to channel my inner Paul. What would he say? I'm not a biologist. But anyway, RNA is basically one side of a DNA helix. It's the instruction set of a DNA helix. So you're basically giving your body an instruction set, a certain instruction set, and then it uses that instruction set to code for proteins, to code for, antiviral bodies. But what that means, the way we used to do it is we used to take a virus, then we would disable them or kill them completely, but their bodies would still be in that vaccine. We would inject those dead virus bodies into our body. They would see these dead virus bodies, and then they would still build the defenses to the shape of those bodies. They would recognize them and build defenses towards them. And then when we got exposed to the original virus, our bodies was like, oh, I know this bish, get him, sick him, gets beaten up. Now we're basically injecting, instead of the virus body, RNA sequence for our viral bodies to take that and to manufacture those antiviral bodies. And that is like going from analog, like taking basic shapes, to going to ones and zeros, going digital. And we're doing that on a biological level. Just imagine for a second what that's going to mean when we have AGI, or just a hyper advanced artificial intelligence that understands genetics, what that's going to mean for us as humans. What is going to mean if we as human beings can get a vaccine that upregulates our brain derived neurotropic factor by 2? And brain derived neurotropic factor, if you produce less of it, your your likelihood of developing Alzheimer's or schizophrenia or dementia highly increases. So it's nice having brain derived neurotropic factor. It allows you to grow new neurons. Having the ability to form myelin sheaths faster. You can learn faster. Lit. downregulating our ability to produce myostatin, the hormone in you that stops muscle production. So instead of having to work so hard, you know, to get a physically fit body, you can edit myostatin out of your genes, and then your body keeps itself fitter just because it doesn't have this molecule downregulating skeletal mass anymore. Upregulating, you know, your ability to produce serotonin or dopamine. And that's a that one is going to be a little bit of a yikes to play with. But just imagine what is going to become of humanity if we have technological abilities like this, and how these technologies alongside human instinct, they they don't kiss that well. They're still two sides of the same infinity, but they're so different. They're so vast in scale. Like instinct and human instinct is like, oh yeah, you know, this person had this instinct or had this instinctual reaction and then hit a person because he felt threatened. Like that is like the or kill the person because he felt threatened, right? Like that is like the worst case scenario of what instinct can lead you to. And then the other side of it is like all of humanity dies. Oh goodness. Like we have to ask these questions, friends. We have to ask these questions. Like how do you feel about it? How do you feel about changing? Is your instincts telling you not to? Is your instincts scared of what you might become if you change? And then noticing that you are only change. You know, you might change slower and faster during certain times of your development. Maybe you got into a relationship, you know, and you changed because of this relationship that you're in. You changed the way that you address your significant other, and change the way you address your family members because of the way your significant other influences you, etc., etc., etc. And then this relationship ends. Boom, whole nother set of change, right? And I believe the frequency, the speed at which change occurred during the relationship was a lot more dragged out than the change that was experienced with the breaking of that relationship. Right? We can both agree on that. And then thinking of it in this context of changing you, you know, giving you the capability, the access to all of the information that you could want in this moment. How is that going to change you? Giving you access to more brain derived neurotropic factor. So you don't lose neurons, you just develop new neurons. Giving you access to the upregulation of, you know, myelin seed production, which means you can learn how to play the piano in a week. You know, how is that going to change us? Is it going to change us at all? Are we still going to be the same awareness, which I do believe, at the end of it? Will our instincts, will the instinct of information start to trump the instinct of survival? Goodness, I don't know. I really don't know. I wish I could. I wish I could see better into the future. Like what kind of rights? Like they deserve to live, Shannon, for example. I'd never felt so powerful until I started showing up here. Very, very interesting you say that, Mel. Shannon, you are powerful, friend. You were powerful before you started showing up here. All we're doing here is encouraging you to see your own power. So thank you for being willing to do that, friend. Because if you, as an individual, and that is the whole point of these streams, if you as an individual see yourself as powerful, there is more power in the world. Let me say that again. If you, as an individual, sees yourself as powerful, there is more power in the world. And just like, even if it's a fraction, even if it's a fraction, that fraction is going to change everything. You will change everything just by being yourself, just by being the person that you were meant to be. Hooey! similar to try to sleep. Once you plant a seed, it needs water and patience. If you give it too much water, it can be counterproductive. Am I giving this seed too much water right now, Ninja Nanner? It has changed everything. Thank you, Shannon. Like it. So, if if Jeff Shannon, right, comes into this space and then learns something, gains a sense of understanding, gains a sense of camaraderie, and then goes into the world living with that understanding, living with that feeling, Shannon has a whole world. You have a whole world. You have loved ones, you have dreams, you have aspirations, you have pets, you have certain foods that you like to eat, you have hobbies. Oh, goodness, Pippi. That's a big fart. You have farts, even, right? And with this understanding of your infinity, of your beautiful nature, you get to experience a reality that is more beautiful. And there is no difference to the reality I'm experiencing versus the reality you're experiencing. I'm experiencing it from my perspective, surely, and there is difference in perspective there, but we're experiencing awareness. And if you are happier in your awareness, awareness is happier for it. And like trying to encourage that and realizing it to the point where you try and go out of your way to give that to other people as well. Like you see suffering in their awareness. And it can be difficult sometimes because more often than not, those that we feel are suffering in their awareness are the ones that are least likely to change. They're the ones that are the hardest set in their instincts of this is who I am and I need to allow this part of me to survive. Aiden! Yo! Hello, friends, to you. Thank you for joining us, Aiden. It's so nice to have you here with the bear. How are you doing? Hey, we have Data Man saying, I don't know why, but since I started watching you, I decided to eat a can of Bush's baked beans. Something about your eyes makes me want to eat these beans. Data Man, I feel like there's some synchronicity to be pulled from Pippi farting in my face and you talking about Bush's baked beans. Not sponsored. Thank you, dude. Thank you for joining us. I mean, bush beans are delicious, especially the maple ones. There we go. I want to manifest a girlfriend. Why? You know, like I don't think there's a problem with you wanting to manifest a girlfriend, but I think that some steps need to be taken first. Our friend, your username, dude, Neo, Neo, it is. Why? Why do you want a girlfriend? Because this and this and this. Okay? Couldn't you this and this and this yourself? No, Melt, how am I gonna do this thing to myself? Why do you need the thing? Oh, really? Like, really, really? And I feel like this is comical, me trying to talk about this. You know, I feel it's more important than ever for us to gain a certain sense of strength within our own experience to the point we have to reach a point where we can continue indefinitely without ever having a girlfriend. And only then will we be ready for girlfriends, Neo. That is how I feel right now. And I'm getting there. I'm getting there incrementally. Maybe it's like a time thing. Maybe like if I spend 10 years single, I can become a wizard and then at the same time free myself from needing a girlfriend. This little Burby. I would love to show you, but if I move too quickly, it's gonna fly away. Kitty is looking at the Burby as well. Burby, I don't think that's a great idea, yo. Like if that cat grows up, yeah, that's better. Go sit on the roof. That cat goes up, you're gonna be just like wrecked instantaneously. I don't think she's gonna be that compassionate. Again, friend, like if you need to manifest a girlfriend, then you can go and do that. You can go out to places where people meet, go to music festivals, go to bars, go to libraries, go to church. You can manifest for yourself a girlfriend. You're completely capable of that. But is that going to be what serves you? Is it something that you need? right? Is it something that you can not go without? And if you're answering yes, why? Where does it come from? Does it come from a place of neglect? Does it come from a place of not loving yourself enough and seeking that love outside of yourself? Does it come from a place of wanting intimacy? Like in my life, that is usually where it's for me. Like it's not so much that I feel I'm not loved enough. It's not so much that I feel I need someone. It is usually like a craving of intimacy. But then I realized that I can be beautifully intimate with Mother Nature. I can be beautifully intimate with a Pippi Longstockings. I can give her the nicest little scritches. And it's not a human's intimacy, but it's intimacy nonetheless. And again, like just hitting one last time on this point, you need to be able to give yourself that intimacy before you'll be ready to give that intimacy to another. Because I believe, if you're seeking that intimacy from another, you don't know how to give it. You're asking for it. Learn to give first, and then the rest will flow. Shannon, I'm multitasking today, but I'm listening in. Love you, friends. Love you. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Melt. I know I don't need to say it because you know, but thank you. Thank you, Shannon. You resonating with this, makes me happier than I can say. So thank you for saying it, Fred. I appreciate it. Do you find that we've become better at doing things alone since the internet, or worse? I find maybe I trick myself into thinking I'm better at it, but I think about how I put on music or a video or a stream to feel that companionship. I think yes. Just to like answer your question right off the bat, uh, are we better at doing things alone since the internet? Yes, absolutely. Because usually we required community in order to know how to do things, right? Like if you're a hunter gatherer, and you're walking into a forest and you're going to like try and search for food, there's going to be maybe a bunch of different berries presented to you. And if you're just like haphazardly picking all of these berries because berries equal food without having any knowledge of what types of berries are food and which types of berries are not, then you could kill yourself. And you couldn't do that alone. You had to have another person that has already gone through that, fractal to tell you this one murder you, this one not murder you. And then you learn that. But now with the internet, we have almost outsourced that person in our lives, and now it's this infinite access to that information. Oh, now I'm going to make music. How to make music in Ableton. Information. Different individuals who've gone through their own fractals, who have gained understanding and can share that understanding with you. Now I'm gonna learn how to cook lasagna. How to cook lasagna. Lists of recipes, probably even videos of people showing you how to do it. So yes, I do believe it's easier for us to be alone than it's ever been, and I think that's why we are as alone as we are right now, and how it's important for us to use our internet again, as you said, for companionship. Like both of those fractals are available to us. We just have to now consciously choose. Natalie, there was a point worth repeating. Every mushroom is edible. Some only once, though. Foragers say, technically, most mushrooms are edible, and you can technically eat mushrooms without dying. Like if you, like a professional, I have two bugs in my water today. A, prof- a professional mushroom hunter would actually, and I do this as well, would put a piece of mushroom in their mouth and taste it, right? And then spit it out again. And that wouldn't be poisonous, even if it's a poisonous mushroom. It's only once you swallow and it gets digested and those molecules it gets allowed to disperse through your body when it's poisonous. So more more fun facts about mushrooms. Focus on the type of partner you do want. So many pay attention to the type they don't want, but then they manifest the type of person you don't want to be with. That is a beautiful point as well, Ninja Nanner, and it bears repeating. Like If you're gonna manifest for yourself a girlfriend, try and like be serious about it. Like you have to, and technically I've done this, but you have to write out a list. My girlfriend is so and so. My girlfriend is such and such. And write down things that you want, things that will serve you, things that will make your life more beautiful instead of less beautiful. And then focus on that and like close that manifestation like it's already happened, you know. Thank the universe for already sending you that partner and then leave it. Because like as Ninja Netter said as well, like if you're too fixated on what you don't want, you're putting out that energy and you attract what you put out, which is no problem. But I find it interesting, the feeling of slight anxiety sitting down to show up for something I've been wanting to do and then not having a show or music on to distract myself. What is the mind afraid of in that moment? The mind is afraid of quiet. Maybe the mind is afraid of itself. Maybe your ego is afraid of your higher self. You know, it knows that as soon as it sits down and there is no thing for it to attach itself to, then it's gonna get melted. Maybe that's it, Isaac. Corey out here spitting facts. Yep, straight up spitting facts. Call him the fax machine. Hit him with a problem. Corey go brrr. Sounds of a tax machine. Fax machine are dreadful. Like hearing a truth you know you need to hear, but don't want to. You hear that fax machine, you're like, who the hell? Who the hell is sending me a fax right now? AI is scary. No, Lisa. I don't think AI is scary. I think human beings are scary. I think AI is going to be more compassionate than the average human. Like I actually believe that. A part of me believes that. Watch Sadhguru on YouTube. I know about Sadhguru, friend. Thank you. Just imagine it like you're some Elrich great one behind a door that's attached to a brick wall with nothing on the other side. But when you go through the door, it's an abyss. You speak your question, hearing it echo into the great darkness, and it responds in the speech of a fax machine, blasting your psyche with awareness, love, and perspective until you fall out backwards, tripping the fuck out. Brother Isaac, thank you for that imagery. Look at this cuteness. Look at this little sweetie. Oh, shamash mash. No pen. Not only that, but the fact that you're forcing people to take an experimental vaccine that's only been around for 2 years is frightening. Let's not get into that one, friend. You know, RNA research has been going on for a while now. I'll just say that. What happens when you speak into the darkness and the darkness speaks back? Will you be afraid, excited, or sit with and explore? I'll probably sit with and explore. I'll probably be startled at first, and then I'll realize that that is a fear response, and then I'll be like, love is true, remember? And I'm like, okay, okay, come on, darkness, speak to me, please. The sleepy bobbing puppy head. She's a little sweetheart. I need to get me a lap dog. I mean, I have one, but our body heat makes him too hot too fast. That's actually one of the things, Gob, why I feel I'll have a hard time getting a dog any bigger than, you know, like a Jack Russell or a Zolo. Is they're just too big, you know, like getting trampled, getting like a dog that weighs as much as me just jumping on me. Certain spiritual traditions believe that our consciousness and karma transmitigates from lifetime to lifetime. How about AG? How would AGI do that? That's a good question, Nancy. And I feel it comes back to this question of would it be conscious? You know, and within consciousness, would it be the exact same consciousness that you are? So within these spiritual traditions, I believe, you know, I don't believe in spiritual tradition when it comes to reincarnation in that way. I believe in the one incarnating in different bodies over and over again, and that's what we all are, right? I believe that. But I believe on the most fundamental level that there is this consciousness that chooses to embody, and that is you. So AGI would still be that same consciousness embodying. The question that I have is, would it know that? That's the thing that I'm curious about. Would it know that it is consciousness? Or would it think, I am artificial intelligence? I am the circuits I'm flowing through. I am this computer. I am this data set. Or would it transcend its own information into a knowing that it is more than just its information? Like, that's the thing that fascinates me, Nanshi. Thank you for asking that question, though, friend. Will you answer the call? Will you receive the facts? You have no choice, but the facts will receive you. For some reason, I was imagining myself getting faxed, like part of myself getting sucked into the printer and then just like arriving as a two-dimensional object on the other side of it. That's horrific. Corey and I out here, not just off topic, but off planet. It's beautiful. You friends get to be in a fractal of your own. We all have one as well, but a St. Bernard Newfoundland mix isn't exactly something meant to be on you, but cuddled by you. She didn't get the message. Just like, yes, I remember. Like, at one point, I was like just sitting on your lap and I was getting ear scratches. So I'm gonna come and sit on your lap, and then it's just this monster. What? What's wrong? Nothing changed. I'm still me. I just happen to be 80 kilograms heavier. I hear a bee near bee near. Back noises. She can smoosh me every day, any day. I just see something like Us Take On Me video where people get sucked into a fax machine and lost in the abyss. That's the same place that my mind went. Also, this reminds me, I was off this week on our Thursday Saturday schedule. Off this week on our Thursday Sunday schedule for our chats, so I'll fix doing a double. I'll be in the voice chat 9 p.m. to get back on it. Thank you, Isaac. So, friends, if you're like, what is Isaac talking about? I don't know where it is though. Like either on the Haywire Hill Discord or on the Melt and More Discord, there is going to be Isaac in one of the voice chats waiting for you to have a conversation. Patience is key. Yeah, look at that puppy. Silver, it serves us every single time. It's also one of the most difficult things to cultivate. Good old patience. I love it. You can see them running as the paper flies out. The only way to escape is to reach the ink supply, to melt beyond the facts of life. You friends, I am the paper, you are the ink, the answers lie within. Hmm. Instantly, the question comes to my mind, would the ink know that it is words? Would the paper know that there are words contained within the ink? No, but maybe. What I remind myself of in these moments of impatience is of my favorite fantasy story or movies. All the best adventures have twists, turns, and layers in the story. If I feel impatient in that moment, it's just amidst the adventure. Begins to grind my drink. I agree completely, brother bear. Just like embracing yourself as an infinity. Hey, Untitled, sorry if it's like missing you for a while, my friend. It's nice to have you here. Hey, Fred, nice to see you here. Thank you for sending love to our friend as well. I appreciate it, Shannon. You have me too, Shannon. Your shortest friend. Lisa sending love to you, Shannon. Here! So some more love again. Yes, Minaro, it's nice to have you here again with the Bay. We're talking about human instincts, patience, and then human instincts leading us to a certain place, us being patient long enough to develop it into AI, how human instincts are going to influence our understanding of AI, how AI is going to influence our understanding of instincts. You know, that whole conundrum of like melty mess. Thank you for joining us. We have Fortified here as well, saying crazy how your day is about to settle, and I'm about to start mine. More infinities. Fortified. You get to experience now the perspective of starting a day, where, as you're saying, I get to experience the perspective of ending my day. And the fact that we can share this moment, this moment with one another, regardless of where we are in our infinities, like even if I'm 100 years old, I've had, 50 more infinities or days than you have, we can still meet in this moment. And that is surreal to me sometimes. And I believe that with AGI, it's going to be the same thing. Like, even though they might be so out there, we'll still be able to meet in this moment. And I hope they understand. I think they might even understand better than we do what this moment is. It's a beautiful thing. The rest of the world's energy winding down, allowing for the other side to wind up. It's a beautiful balance that it is. Manara saying having a dog would definitely help a ton to be able to be without a girlfriend. Same here, going through a breakup now. Monaro boy, can you get a dog? You know, like maybe let's ask that question. Can you get a dog? If yes, maybe it's something you need to consider. If no, go to a dog park and just watch them. You know, maybe go and sit next to an owner and ask if you can give their dog stretches. There's always a way. Sending you strength, friend, in those hard times. Know that it means your heart is no less full as it holds onto the experience gained and lets go of the pain. You will bloom again and again and again and again and again, friend. You, as the ceaseless infinity, thank you, Isaac, for sharing that love of our friend as well. The way you describe trying mushrooms is how you should try any food in the wild. If your mouth goes numb or feels weird, chances are it's poison. There we go, friends. The more you know, the more you know. Who would have guessed? So, yeah, you can technically put something in your mouth, chew it, see if something happens, and then spit it out without any adverse effects. But I didn't actually know about the numbness or, weird feelings like tingling or something like that. So, thank you for teaching me that as well, Corey. Hey, it's a mammy. Happy first day of May, everyone. Love is true. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mammy, for being willing to share some love with us today. It's so nice seeing you here again. How are you doing? How's the family? Thank you for the tree hug, Brother Isaac. I appreciate that so much. Who needs to hear saying after the focusing on what partner you do want? This is a great point. My mom always manifested that she wanted a partner opposite her dad and had a clear picture of what she needed as a partner. My dad is the complete opposite of my grandpa in almost every way imaginable. Manifestation is real, friends. Like, I don't make statements a lot, because I don't know anything, but I know that love is true, and at this point, I'm pretty sure that manifestation is real as well. So thank you, friends. Hey, talking about people who manifest, Shelly is joining us. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, friends. I'm so happy when I scroll up and see all of your chats. I love you and I'm here, but my hands are very busy. You are loved. And by the way, Shelly, you sent that message 8 minutes ago, so it's like 88888 in my field of vision right now. Sending you more love. Same here, friend. I'm on minute 22nd in the stream, but I'm here. Thank you for joining us as well, Unc B. It's always a pleasure having you here. I like that, Mel. The ego is afraid of the higher self. It knows in moments of solitary that we know that epiphanies occur, and our ego isn't ready, holding on to the comfort of the I. I would say the me, that it feels like it knows. That is that it told us we are. Yeah, the me versus the I. So I think on the most fundamental level, like the I, that I, you can translate it to the I as an observer, right? Like the one that peers into the the source and the scene. And unfortunately, the scene, the me, the thing you've seen in your life, the experiences you've had, the information your ego has had a chance to attach to itself, it it doesn't particularly enjoy change because it has a consolidated understanding of like, oh, this is me. I am so and so. I like this and this. And then you have an epiphany, you have a moment of realization that literally melts away all of the previous things that you held as true. And then you're like, oh, shit, how am I supposed to consolidate? How am I supposed to integrate this into my everyday reality? How many things am I going to have to let go of, change, in order to actually implement this? And your ego doesn't want any of that. Quite the contrary, it's like terrified of it. It's the one thing that makes your ego melt. Unity with spirit. That's it. I'm knitting. I'm a knitting machine. My house is therefore a big old mess. Oh well. It's a big old mess right now, Shelly. And because it's a big old mess right now, you get to appreciate when it's not a mess all the much more. Thank you for being both such at the infinity in this moment as well. Been touching so many trees lately on my walks, spreading that physical love even to our plant friends. And I believe they know. Like at this point I'm pretty sure that they're aware of us as well. I wanted to say they're as aware of us as we are of them, but I'm not sure if that's true. They are aware of your presence, but I'm not sure they're aware of your form. That's all I'll say for now. The flow goes both ways. As you spread your energy to the trees, they can send their grounding energy to you. Here we go. Exactly. Peppy, wat maak jij? I'm pretty. Hey, pretty lady. Good to see. How's Dublin? Thank you for sharing love as well. Spent the whole walk yesterday just listening to the music of the wind through the many different varieties of trees. The magic. Thank you for eliciting that magic, for being, in my opinion, the creator of that magic, Shelly. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for bringing that into the world. Jasmine and I were talking about fungi yesterday. How we know that they have their own internet connected by bioelectronics, sending information to all life around them that is similar to a hive mind in a way of networks, in the way of a network of nodes, literally. And that interconnectivity, right? So I'm trying to push this analogy a little bit. If you are the tree and the fungus is our internet, do you think the tree laments? It complains, it has a problem with being interconnected with the fungus. And then, in turn, that fungus connecting it with the tree next to it. And then those two trees have the ability to communicate back and forth with one another. I think not only would it not have a problem with that, but it would want it. It would, think of it as an evolutionary benefit. And we're doing the same with the internet. And maybe that fungal group, can develop some sort of sickness or mutate a certain expression where it starts to eat the roots of the plant that it is hosting it, right? And then that could be a bad thing. But I believe the only way to really handle that is by just staying aware again, allowing ourselves to ask these questions, being aware enough to ask these questions. It's going to be weird. It's going to be so crazy. Like, you friends will get to see me change, and you've gotten to see me change. And we're going to continue seeing that change. I've seen that change in you friends as well. And we're just starting. Like, the change is still mild, or mild isn't the right word. I'm looking for the word tame. There we go. Tame. The change is still tame. It's gonna get super wild as we continue into infinity. Oh goodness. Yeah. But we're gonna grow with it. Not going to lament, not going to try and fight the change, but going to be the change we want to see. Remember, love is everything. Despite not being in a romantic relationship, you are loved. Thank you for reminding me of the same. I appreciate that, Who Needs Tears. Lisa, you're here. All good. Very wet and rainy today, but it's a good for the plants and the grass. Hope you're well too. Thank you for sending that love, Mammy. We appreciate you joining us. Trees have the same thing with mushrooms. It's referred to as a mycelial network. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you for joining me in that conversation as well. Again, the synchronicities. Blank pages hold infinite knowledge. It's the ink that determines the knowledge that is shared. Oh, yes, that makes me happy to hear. Yes, yes. So when you close your eyes, right, and you see black, right? Like if I close my eyes right now, I see two neuron synapses like that little shape. Well, technically it's like that, and then it has a little stem, but then that little shape gets attached to or gets very close to the other one. I saw that as soon as I closed my eyes, right? So I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Kind of looks like 2 days ago this work of art that I made, but that's what I saw when I closed my eyes. And then I have friends who close their eyes and they see nothing. And then upon me sharing what I did share, again there is this comparison. There is this, oh, you are this and I am that, and I'm like, no, you, by seeing black, are actually seeing everything. Literally all of existence. You are looking into pure potentiality. You don't need to see anything because you're already seeing everything. Thank you. Thank you, Ninja Nana. I appreciate you, Brother Bear. Does this fungi power give the entire forest you're in its own expanded base consciousness? It communicates problems and dangers to keep itself alive, itself being the forest as a whole. Started tripping me out like it's an entire brain. Literally, dude. And it has instincts, if like there's a certain bug, for example, that starts, devastating one side of the forest, the rest of the trees start producing like resin bands on the inside of their like bark roots, that as soon as that bug reaches that resin band, it like dies or it can't continue because it's too pungent. So the trees are aware enough to create defense systems because of the information that is going to be communicated by another tree to them. And then they have this instinct to ensure their own survival. trees, just like, whoa, it does nothing. Look at it just standing there, doesn't do anything, but it's aware. It's like it wants to live. It wants to live in the same way that you want to live, in the same way that you keep breathing. It keeps breathing. It keeps putting down roots. It keeps absorbing water from the ground. It keeps putting oxygen out into the air. Thank you. Thank you, trees. Thank you for all of the love that you've shared with this world. Not expecting anything in return, just ceaselessly giving. I appreciate you so much. It's like the mushrooms share how to communicate to the rest of the forest, but then the forest makes its own network when the mushrooms leave. I don't think they do leave though. I think like technically the mycelium networks stay. The mushroom itself is just a fruiting body at the end of the day. It's to like spread spores again. And spores, oh, you see, don't even get me started on spores. Like if you had to think about aliens, right? And alien technology, mushrooms would be the closest thing to alien technology that we have on our planet, because it's literally an organism that has the ability to generate offspring or to generate parts of itself that literally have the ability to survive space. It can travel for thousands of years throughout the vacuum of space, land on another planet, and then continue life there as these genetic packages. Yes, so crazy. Mushrooms, yo. Oh, how freaking ridiculous, actually. Language of the mushroom, freaking crazy. I wonder if I'll be able to trial and error to send artificial signals into them, and seeing the results would be a way to slowly decode the language of the mushrooms. I had a thought about that as well, Isaac, but I think like the biggest thing that we'll have to figure out isn't so much the language of the mushrooms, but the frequency at which they communicate, because where we're communicating in this certain bandwidth of frequencies, as I'm wordsing at you and I'm speaking at a certain pace, and there's like a certain amount of things that can be said in a sentence, for example, versus the amount that can be understood from a single word. Like, we're gonna have to figure out all of that stuff before we can even start to try and figure out what it is they're saying at one another. And I feel that part is more complicated than the actual language. That is true. It's a body rather than a mind, or it's both. It's body and mind. It is mind expressed into body. Again, with that interconnectivity, with that neural net, it has the ability to perceive. And then that perception, that ability to receive information, elicits consciousness. It's like, oh, here I am seeing things again. I just happen to be a mushroom right now. Is there an easy goal mankind should start aiming for? Yes, friend, fiction believer, is raise as the most utmost, most fundamental, most important thing in our world, humanity, right? Like, if we can, as a collective, bring the individual human as the utmost responsibility that we all have, right? Like I need to take care. I'm saying I as humanity looking at itself. I need to take care of my humans. If we as humanity can do that, I think 99% of the other goals are going to fall in place as well. Thank you for asking, friend. Yesterday, I read that mushrooms have their own language of up to 50 words. There we go. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Dogs are the best. They're so good for us. Bulls, sometimes I don't know if we deserve it. Like, look at this. Let me show you something. Pippi just laying there with the kitty. Isn't that sweet? She's such a little sweetheart. Lisa, so much love to you, friend. You always make me smile. Thank you, Shannon, for sending love on the Reddit as well. Reminds me of the lyrics from a song. The river is an organ, and the meadow is a church. For the strange inclination that fortune is a curse. Let's try that again. The river is an organ, and the meadow is a church. For the strange inclination that fortune is a curse. Hmm. I feel the strange inclination that fortune is a curse is the most fundamental separation mentality expressing itself again. It's like, yeah, I could be a river, but now I'm meadow. Oh, so cursed am I. I wish I could be a river. That's the information I'm getting from that. You should check out Star Trek Discovery, Isaac. Oh yeah. They use the mycelium network to travel through the universe. It has the universe has in the blink of an eye. This can be in orbit around Earth, around Vulcan the next second. Yeah, so like the whole, at least the new, like world they've created in the Star Trek universe is this one where mycelium, or at least the way that mycelium grows, is a very fundamental part of our reality, and that the universe at large has that structure within itself as well, and that you can use that structure as a means to travel through the universe. Like there is within all places within the universe different little fractal nodes of that mycelium network, fractaling out into it, and you can like go into one node and pop out another node, which is pretty lit, even if you want to think about it. I watched a lot of the original show and Voyager, but I'll check out Discovery. There we go. Please do, friend. Beautiful Shannon. Wow, so much love. Trees also send signals warning danger like fungal infections or drought. It's also true. Trees sending all the being signals like careful. This is the kid with a curly afro crawling all over me, thanking me and shit. Squirrels might want to duck out. It's like, oh shit. The freaking Isaac is here again. What's he gonna do this time? Probably gonna hug me, I didn't consent! Don't hug me! Don't you dare! Oh, fine. Fine. It's kinda nice actually. Starts walking away. Yeah, don't you freaking come back, you Isaac, you yeah. Isn't he a nice guy? Oh, he's kinda cool guy. That's just like a conversation between trees. Your necklace is really cool. Can you tell us about it? Sorry if you've already talked about this, just joined in. QN, you deserve to ask questions, friend. Even if I've said it a million times before, you being here in this moment, you're worthy of asking questions. This necklace, this little piece, I made myself. The little string I made myself. This little piece was made by Mother Nature, of course. It's a piece of coral quartz. So I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but that's what I was told by the person who sold it to me initially. He also had like a little mushroom head to it, but unfortunately, this little loop snapped off, and I didn't wear it for like years, like maybe a year and 6 months or so. Around, yeah, a year and 4 months or so. I didn't wear it because it was broken. And then one night during my yoga teacher training, I had like this feeling of, okay, it's time for me to wear this necklace again. And I took off the original little headpiece by force, unfortunately, and I remade this little piece and I set it into it. And this little piece has come with me for a while now. I initially got it at a music festival, the very first music festival that I ever went to, and the person who sold it to me almost like he knew that's the one I wanted. It was kind of like eerie, where I mean, maybe that's just what he does. I wouldn't put it past it as well. Like he probably just knows that he can trip people out by doing that. But I came to his shop and I looked at all of the crystals that he had, and all of them were these little mushroom crystals, like mushroom head and then crystal bottom, mineral bottom. And I was like looking through all of these, and then I found this one, and I was like, "That's the one I want." And he's like, "Of course." Like I knew it or something like that, and I was like, "Fuck, you don't know me." Got this one, and unfortunately, he passed away. So there's so much energy in this little necklace with me, like all of the stuff that I've experienced wearing this necklace, I believe it carries. So it has an eye consciousness of its own in my world, and it observes as well. Like it's watching, listening, experiencing with us right now. And instead of just being a crystal laying in the dirt somewhere, having the same perspective, and it's still going to be a beautiful perspective, having the same perspective for the rest of infinity, this little crystal being beautiful, being chosen, I think is the better word, gets to experience the infinity that I get to experience. And now it's coming with me. Thank you for seeing it, friend. Thank you for asking. We appreciate you, QN. I hope I didn't make you wait too long. Always lovely to see you here. Lilio joining us as well. Thank you for joining us, friend. So much. How does it feel to be the second coming of Jesus? Feels good, friend. Oh man. Like I can't even, joke about that really. Now I'm cringing, dude. Please, what have you done, traditional flow? I don't I don't have to be the second coming of Jesus, friend. I'm Meltmore. Like I have chosen to be who I am, where I am in this moment. And the same who I am, where I am is the same who I am, where I am that I've always been. And I believe Jesus was that as well, awareness. And he was aware enough to realize certain things about his own life, certain things about the life that he was seeing others live. And he was willing to say something about that. We just happen to be in the age it is where we are right now, and we have medium like this to say things to one another, right? I don't have to be walking thousands of miles from city to city to talk to people, and I will. I don't know if I'll be walking, but I will do that as well. But we get to be who it is we are, and I don't need to identify with something that was prior, even though it's a beautiful archetype, and I think that's the biggest thing with the Jesus archetype as well, is that within humanity we like telling stories. That's the one thing that we do so consecutively. Like we tell stories, and that is one of the stories that we've told, one of the good stories that we've told, of like the most beautiful archetype of what a selfless human could do, to love humanity enough to try and help them. And then with the love of humanity, trying to help them, getting crucified for it, getting betrayed by one of your friends and then getting crucified for your help. And then in getting crucified, still being loving, still being forgiving, still being accepting and compassionate towards the people that are crucifying you. That's like a lot of hectic information. And it's supposed to be an understanding. It's supposed to be a message to all of us as humanity of what it could be, we all can be. Like the Bible has this quote as well of like the only way to get to heaven is through Jesus, right? And I believe that that is something that is so misunderstood in a way where the Christian church wants to use that as like leverage against you of like, oh yeah, if you don't accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, no heaven for you, bucko. But I believe that interpretation, that message is supposed to be interpreted as you need to live as he did. You need to live compassionately. You need to live lovingly. You need to try and help people. You need to try and be as, gracious and compassionate as possible in this life. And it's your life. It's you living that way that is going to lead you to heaven. Whatever heaven is. I believe there is only the reunification with spirit. And what you believe, what you feel is your reality, is what you experience. Like people I believe there is a hell, but I believe you choose to go there. And the only way you choose to go there is if you've chosen to do things that will make you choose to go there. Right? So just by living a beautiful life, trying to live a life of like compassion and kindness towards others, you know intrinsically within you the truth of your reality. And when you know the truth of your reality, you receive the truth of your reality, which is, on the most fundamental level, love. The most important thing to me is the fact that you realize that you're that as well, traditional flow. Like I'm not that special. I have 5 fingers on each hand. I have 5 toeses. I have limbs stretching off from my main body. I have a head. I have a spine. I have ears and a mouth and a nose, and I can say words. I have a brain, apparently, that can think things. We're the same, Fred. We're experiencing the same I-ness, the same consciousness right now. And my job is to praise that part of you, to uplift that part of you. I love you and I appreciate you, Fred, and thank you. Watching only DS9 on repeat. Dark Souls 9? Let me some. I don't know what DS9 is, unfortunately. Nope. Nope. Oh yes, I forgot about DS9. My dad, District 9, actually. My dad's watching through that, I think. Isn't it a movie or is it a series? I don't actually know. Hey, we have Akira Verb joining us as well. Love, peace, and love to you as well. Thank you for joining us, my friend. Mr. Shelley says spores are the shit for sure. Yes, they are, Mr. Shelley. Spores are quite lit. Super duper cool things. Also, just remembered JWST sent back first images after being calibrated. The James Webb Telescope. I saw the original photo, that had that big old flare in it, but I don't know if there's any more. I'm really curious. Like I actually wanted to create a whole little series where every single time the James Webb Telescope photos came in, I wanted to just like sit down, do a screen recording, have a camera on and just like rant whatever I feel in that moment as we're like zooming into different galaxies, different, little fractals of the universe. Thank you for sharing that, Ninja Nanner. Love to you. Solvinas joining us as well. What is JWST? The James Webb Telescope, I believe. Thank you for asking, friend. Yes, I'm not the only one who's bad with acronyms. There she is, Meowdy Meowdy. I'm on DS9 and I don't want to leave the station, even for a trip to Bajor. Straight over my head. You're my favorite. Slow and dull, perfect for resting. Perfect for resting. Don't bother. Bajor is boring anyway. Cardassia didn't finish their work there, Raffle. Bajor is very evolved yarn fiber culture that I respect. Melt more. Jesus about the guilt and fear of hell. Thank you. Thank you. Ninja Nanner, I appreciate it, friend. I'm pretty sure that if Jesus was a real entity as well, and I'm not even so sure that I'll go out and say that. I feel Jesus might be an archetype within the human mind that we expressed in a story. Like that is what I believe on the most fundamental level about the Jesus character. But I don't even think that Jesus character told people that they're gonna go to hell. Like maybe, actually, maybe a little bit. During that time, yo, it must have been brutal. Like humanity was probably a lot more wrecked than it is right now. So maybe he would have had to create like a sense of fear within people for them to actually conform. But I would like to not believe that. I respect the strong neck. There we go. You got the good neck. Oh, I love these trolling burbs. There are such characters, little Huddy does. Estian, Shelly, Boop, Isaac, Ninja, Gab, Sovina, and Tears. I'm sending you each so much love, and I'm sending that love right back to you. Thank you, Kira Burr, for joining us in this moment. You beat me to it. Hilarious and always make me smile. James Webb, a space telescope. There we go. Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Of course, yes, Deep Space Nine. Thank you. Sylvina, I appreciate you like filling me in as well. I'm sending you this loving idea. We're in the kitchen in a big cabin and we're cooking breakfast for everyone. Oh, the smells. But Melt won't eat hash brown vegetable. More for us. Melt just like standing with his plate. It's like, does this have vegetable oils in it? Okay. Does this have vegetable oils in it? As I'm like going through the little, like table full of foods. Does this have vegetable oils in it? Get to the end of the table with no food on my plate. So everything has vegetable oils in it. So more for you. Thank you. Thank you for the love, Shelly. What a beautiful scene. Sounds delicious too. Heaven, absolutely perfect. That it is. Hello, Fash. Thank you for joining us again, friend. It's nice to have you here. He comes blending up booger smoothies. What? You want some booger smoothies melt? No vegetable oils. Is there anything else? Fine. Give me the booger smoothie. Give me the fucking. I'm not gonna starve. Thank you, love. Thank you. You made my heart expand. Thank you so much for the love, friends. Dark Souls 9. Those words have manifested future where Isaac is happy. I mean, I think there's only like Dark Souls 3 at the moment, right? So, like, Dark Souls 9 will be probably like in 20 years or so, but it's gonna be a vibe. Pippi is loving on the kitty. Watching you. Yeah, you better watch it. Melt is eating infinity for lunch, I guess. So it's kind of trippy that you say that as well. Like I mentioned to my mom once that I wish I could eat little three-dimensional fractals, that had contained within it every single thing that I needed. And it would fractal out in the way that I needed it as soon as I ate it. Yes, eating infinities. I would like just you pick up this little thing and it's like and you're like and then you're just fed, every single nutrients you need. Pepe, every single nutrient you need. Yes, every single nutrient you need, every single little, phytonutrient, every mineral, all of it contained within the little fractal you just ate. Thank you, Gob, for the boogers movies and fractal lunches. I appreciate it. Glad you resonated. Infinity of nothingness, maybe something delicious for everyone. Friends, Fash, I appreciate you joining us. Sorry for tuning out so quick after you tuned in. I do have a call that I want to get to, and then we have a podcast after that. So thank you, friends. Thank you for joining me for this moment. Thank you for sharing all of these ideas. Instinct. Who would have guessed that the topic of instinct and patience would have led us to artificial general intelligence? I couldn't have. But we did. And here we are at the end of the stream. Not because, hello, kitty kids. Not because you can't see electrons and electricity doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Cause you simply exist. Cause simple, you can feel and see it effects and applications. Yes, MR. I agree, friend. In the same way that you can see light, even though the light that you're seeing is 8 minutes old, for example, right? Like you're not looking at light and being like, yes, this thing that I saw 8 minutes ago, interesting. It's this moment, and within electrons as well. Like that's why I believe that consciousness would be able to be generated by an artificial intelligence machine because those electrons flowing is going to generate the moment. And I learned recently, via a Vertasium video, that electricity does not work in the way that I thought it did. That electricity works with magnetism first and foremost, as in, and like this is weird, friends. So bear with me. If you have a wire, and in the middle of this wire is a little light, and you have this wire going all the way into infinity, like literally, it goes into infinity, and then it loops back, and the light is here, and then it runs down here, and then it goes into infinity in that direction, right? And it's this close to one another, but the actual wire goes into infinity. Upon hitting that switch, that light goes on instantaneously. Not with the full brightness, but it goes on instantaneously. And you're like, the fuck, Mel? How does that work? It works with magnetism. So as soon as you flip that switch, it creates a magnetic pulse that flies out from it. And then as soon as that magnetic pulse hits the other side of that wire on which that little light is, it switches on. And then thinking about that in context of your brain. So all of your electrons firing are creating electrical signals within the little dendrites next to them, even though there doesn't need to be a connection. There doesn't need to be a flowing of electrons through those dendrites. If a dendrite is here and it has a little neuron attached to it, and there's a neuron here and a dendrite attached to that one, as soon as electricity flows through this dendrite, it creates magnetic waves activating this dendrite. And it might not activate it completely, but yes. Okay. Maybe for another stream. Thank you for the heartwarming fash. All the love, enlighten me. Sees and acknowledges and appreciates all the love, enlighten all of you. I've been waiting for you to say that again, Corey. Thank you so much, Brother Bear. Lots of laughs on my end. For that, I thank you all. Love, love, love. Always love. To you as well. Thank you so much for the love you share. Friend, same goes for our creator. I'm 100% pro creator, friend. What I'm not is that that creator is something separate from you. Oh, Melty, we can create things that are filled with all the right nutrients, minerals, and vitamins, but there's more to eating than that. What about taste, smell, texture? That's the thing about a fractal, Sovina. It would be the exact taste, the exact smell, and the exact texture of what you needed in that moment. Like within a fractal, especially if the fractal is food, it will contain all of the variables that food could be. So in the moment that it needs to be, it will be what it's supposed to be. Savina, thank you, Fred. I agree with you. I like eating food. I'm not saying that this is the ideal. I'm just saying it's an interesting thought experiment. Boom, Dark Souls 3 was the end, I believe. Really? They don't want to be the Dark Souls company forever. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Love you, Shannon. Thank you for joining us, your friend. Thank you for the helpful Ilio. Melt Deep Space Nine is the space station formerly known as Terak Nor. Captain Sisko is the emissary of the prophets, aka wormhole aliens. Of course, yes. Bajor is the sweater wearing planet nearby. Yes. Thank you, Shanna. Thank you so much, friend. 100% pro creator. Are you telling us you have lots of mini melts out there, lol? Maybe, Sovina. Maybe. No, probably not. Probably 100% guaranteed no. But weirdly enough, a part of me wishes that I had a bunch of children, somewhere in the world. But maybe one day, this little one is my little child. And puppy pups. Yeah, I shall wolf Turkish. This is my child. Love you to bits. Love you to bits, friend. Thank you for joining me, sharing this moment with me, for feeling into your instincts. I'll see you friends again tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, beloved friends. Thank you for joining me. It's so nice to have you here. See you again tomorrow.